Welcome back to Leveraging Leadership, where we unpack the art of business leadership. I'm your host, Emily Sander, Chief of Staff turned Executive Leadership Coach. This show is all about finding your points of greatest influence and leveraging them to better serve those around you. How do you manage executive transitions? So we'll go over 3 types of executive transitions today. The first one is a planned transition. This is the nice one, it's the easiest, where so-and-so has been running the company for so long, and in the next 6 to 12 months, they're going to start to step down from their role, and this other person is going to start to step into their role. So it's nice, it's breezy, it's smooth, everyone's informed, everyone has time to get used to the news, and there's plenty of lead time. The second type is a sudden transition. So a medical emergency happens, or a family emergency happens and someone has to step down. Someone gets kicked off of the leadership team for whatever reason, but it's sudden, it's right away. This is where we're scrambling, where it's like, oh my gosh, like what just happened? What do we do? The third type is founder transitions. So this can be planned or sudden, but it has a little bit different flavor to it because if it's the original founder or one of the original founders, there's a different connection to that or a different kind of level or tenor to that, where this was their baby. They created it from nothing. So that transition might have some different components to it. And with any of these, it's a huge opportunity to reassess or realign the organization where needed. So you can use this as a catalyst for change, for a positive catalyst for change. If you want some more examples on that, go to episode 67 to hear more about that. But this can be a huge opportunity where if you're making these big moves at the CEO level, at the COO, at the C-suite level, then it's going to be easier to also adjust some things across the organization. So it might be a good opportunity to step back and zoom out and say, do we need to redefine our mission and vision of the company? Do we need to identify or reset some of our top priorities that we're going after? Do we need to reorg the leadership team? Are there places where it's like, you know what, we've done this for a long time, but it really needs to be like this? Do you need to set some new goals and reset some expectations across the organization for what success looks like or what this department does or what this role means? All of those things are on the table, and that can be very positive. All right, so what are some challenges that you could run into in an executive transition? The first one is resistance to change. So humans don't like change. On the whole, if something is unknown or something is uncertain, they don't like that. And so being open with communication, being transparent, being frequent and up to date with updates and things like that can help in that regard. And a sub part of this would be what I would call stakeholder management. So if you have an incoming CEO, then you might have stakeholders like board members or investors or senior leadership or key partners. And these folks have to be kind of mapped out. So you would have a stakeholder map, and then you would say, okay, here's who I need to inform. Here's who I need to bring in for input at these points, and am I up to date with that? So is everyone informed about key status updates along the way? The next challenge would be knowledge gaps. So whoever you bring in is going to have some sort of knowledge gap. It would be great if that thing was as small as possible, but sometimes you get someone who's an amazing hire who doesn't know the industry. Almost all of your candidates will not know the inner workings of your company. So that is all brand new to them. So having a robust onboarding plan is key here. For a new CEO, their onboarding time could be a year long to be fully ramped into that role. So at least having a clear 30, 60, 90-day plan is going to be big here. The next challenge would be culture fit. So you can have the greatest person on paper. You can have the most experienced person, the best background, the best hard skills that you could ask for, but they're just not a good fit. They're just not aligned with the company culture. They just don't fit in with the leadership team. And it's like pushing a rock uphill. That's not what you want. You want things smooth. You want things streamlined. You want things to gel. You want things like, yes, people are excited, all of that stuff. So here you can use things like behavioral assessments. DISC is one of my favorite ones. There's plenty out there. But putting someone through behavioral assessment, so one, they're self-aware of themselves, but two, you can also see, okay, did they align with our overall mission and vision? And do they have the values that we hold in high regard for our company? And this is a key one. Do they complement the skill set we already have on our leadership team? So if you have a certain style or certain type of person on your leadership team already, that's all well and great. It might be okay if you add another one of that exact type or style, but it might work better if you had a slightly different style or someone with slightly different strengths to complement your existing leadership team. So, having one of those behavioral assessments might be really key in determining some of those things. Okay, so those were some challenges. What are some tools or things you can think about that will help you in managing an executive transition? The first one might be to put together a transition team. And this could be a team that's represented from lots of different groups and constituencies. They could have board members on there, senior leaders. You might have an outside consultant or two on there, but these folks should have clear roles and should check in regularly about the status of where we are with this transition. The next one here, which kind of goes along with the first one I just said, is a clear job description. So, this sounds basic and it should be basic, but sometimes it gets skipped over. So, I'm going to mention it. Having a clear job description for the role is critical, is crucial. Having members of the transition team or any other relevant member be involved in that process is a good thing for a couple reasons. One, they have buy-in to that role because they helped literally create it. They helped literally create that job description. Two, they and everyone else on the transition team are aware of the scope and responsibilities of this new role. So there's no like secret or hiding like, oh, what's this person going to do? Are they going to take my job? Everyone's aware of their job description. And of course, three would be the candidate is very clear on their job description, which is always helpful. All right, so clear job description. Then we have managing the transition period. So we talked about clear communication to different audiences, recognizing different groups and audiences might need different things. We talked about transparency. So being transparent helps reduce people's anxiety, which is always good. And then you want to support any interim leaders. So if you appoint an interim leader, you want to make it clear that their status is on an interim basis, but you also want to give them the mandate and authority to hold that role. So it's a balance there, but you have to be clear about what this role is and is not, but also if they need to have the big guns and bring the thunder and have the buck stops here, you've got to get them that if they're in that interim role. Okay, onboarding process. So you've created the job description, you've gone through the interview process, you've extended an offer, they've accepted it. Now they're coming on board. So you rely on your 30, 60, 90-day plan and you want to kind of manage their exposure to different groups, meaning you want to put them in meet and greet situations. So they need to meet the executive leadership team, who hopefully they've already been exposed to during the interview process, maybe senior leaders, mid level management. You might have town halls with all company, you might have all company calls, just a chance for people to hear from this person directly and hopefully interact with them or get to ask questions that they have. So, from your clear and frequent communication through the transition process, they know this is coming. They know this is coming. It's not a surprise. But a lot of folks across the company might not have ever spoken with this person or heard of this person. So, giving them a chance to meet and greet with the new incoming leader is a good idea. You would also have things like executive coaches at this stage. So, when a new C suite leader is ramping into a new role, an executive coach can be a really good resource and a great advantage for that individual. In terms of internal transition support, you would have namely chief of staff, right? So if you have a chief of staff who has been with the company and they are supporting an incoming CEO, they are right there with that CEO. All along their 30, 60, 90 days, they know who's who in the zoo. They know the internal process. They know where the bathroom is. They know what we typically do for this, and this, and why. They have the context for things. So all of those discussions and all of those types of things are happening with a chief of staff or someone like it. All right. And the last thing I'll say here is you also want to consider how to support the departing leader. So depending on the circumstance, this could look different. It could be non-existent, or it could be one of a myriad of different things. But if that person has created this company and has just decided to step back, to have to take care of their family or to have more of a lifestyle, business or pace to things, then it might be formally acknowledging them in a motion at the board meeting, or it might be throwing a party for them on this Friday afternoon, and everyone is welcome to join in and share stories about the good old days or when they first started with the company. And it was, me and Matt and Cindy in a shoebox, and we were doing all this sort of stuff. And now look where we are, look where you've got it to. So those types of things can take place. You might offer like transition services, so career transition coaching. You might offer them networking opportunities or being parts of different groups. You might also retain them as an advisory board member. So think through what you can do to support that departing leader. All right, so let's go through two quick examples of managing executive transitions. So, in our first example here, we have a nonprofit arts organization. And let's say they've had a long-standing ED, and this person has been great for the organization, but they've decided to step down after a long tenure. So the board might say, okay, great. Thank you so much for your service. Thank you for the heads up. And we are going to put together a needs assessment and talk to some of our volunteers and some of our staff and other constituents and have these visioning sessions so we can put together a really clear job description about what we're looking for. And we're using this as a little bit of an opportunity to realign our mission and vision because it's been with this person for so long. It was great and we did a lot of good, but now it's, new generation, it's new things are coming up and we have to slightly tweak that. And through all that, they're able to hire a dynamic executive director with fresh energy while also acknowledging and respecting the organization's history. So that could be an executive transition. Our second example here is going to be a tech startup. So, fast paced, rapid growing startup. And the founder was great for a time, but can't quite get with the new program. And the board says, as of the first of next month, you are no longer going to be our CEO. You are going to be stepping down. We'll put together a communication plan for you, but you're no longer going to be in charge, and it's very sudden. And so the board will quickly get together and put a transition team in place. They will quickly appoint an interim CEO from an internal team member, will step up into that. And then they will engage with an external executive search firm to find a candidate to fill that role long term. And throughout the transition process, they are constantly talking to their investors and the senior leadership and the employees to keep everyone informed to try to keep things as stable as possible in that transition period. And through that external search, they are able to find someone who aligns with the values, who is a great fit for the leadership team and has this innovative culture and can take the company to the next level. Maybe they're known for scaling companies at this stage. So that could be a key hire for that second example company. So, if you are involved in managing executive transitions, or you're involved directly or indirectly in any part of this, hopefully you have a heads up on some challenges that might come up. And now you have some tools or some things to think about that can help you in these transitions. And if you have any questions, just shoot me a note. Just email me directly. It's emily@nextlevel.coach. Otherwise, go forth, be great leaders, and I will catch you next week on Leveraging Leadership.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, share, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.